Legends of Grayskull is a fan podcast exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Shawn Scavarna and Matthew Duke as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go. Get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends of Grayskull, the fan podcast where we discuss the history, the mystery, the magic, and mythology of He-Man, She-Ra, Eternia, Etheria, Nordor, Primus, New Adventures, Old Adventures, Ladybird, UK Annuals, comics, mini-comics, anything and everything you can think of with that He-Man, She-Ra, Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power! That Mattel logo down in the corner. I'm Matthew Dooch, here with Curtis Ackerman. Shawn Scavarna's on his way. He hit a pothole.
Really?
Really?
Really with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad enough that you're doing a live Legends of Grayskull on the night that we're supposed to do Off-World, but then you reveal that song from
Yeah, you like that?
DeWitt with the awesome music and the singing and you know, you and Shawn, and we get what, the leftover stuff on Off-World, like whatever you found on the internet.
It's ripped off Ender's Game theme. I mean, the movie sucked, but like the music is decent.
I just don't get why this is such a high production piece for this show, but then the other show is like an afterthought. And
well, you know, it's just if you know, the guys over at Off-World were as dedicated as the guys at Legends of Grayskull, who couldn't even be here on time, you know?
There it is. Okay. All right. I see how it is. I'm just a little miffed, if I'm being honest. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you invited me and I'm here, but I feel a little miffed. So,
well, you know, when Off-World hits 100 episodes, maybe Jeremy will love you guys all enough to give us a song over there.
In all seriousness, though, that did sound amazing.
That's
Jeremy,
awesome.
so talented. Great job.
Yeah.
So.
Anru says, wait, what's this? Yep, that is a amazing theme song by the one and only Jeremy DeWitt. Super talented, super awesome. We are very blessed to count him as a friend. Let's see who else in the chat here. We got Pride of Grayskull. We got Manny Gonzalez. We got Skelly Vader. What's up, guys? Let us know what you thought.
Grayskull podcast. That's gonna be stuck in my head all night,
dude. He sent it to me like 2 weeks ago, and I literally sing it at work. Like I'm putting chips up, and I'm Legends of Grayskull podcast. Oh, it's amazing. Skelly Vader says he loves the new song. Manny Gonzalez says hi, Curtis.
Hello, Manny.
Oh, so Shawn is all right. He is actually finishing up something with his family. That's the cryptic answer we got. We didn't want to leave you guys hanging though, so we went ahead and started up here. So why don't we go ahead and what's up, J-Mac? Welcome to the show. Make sure to watch the replay so you can hear our awesome new theme song. Why don't we go ahead and do some pickups? You get anything this week, Curtis?
Got a couple new things. Yep. They're not Motu related, so sorry about that. But
yeah, they're not always on here.
I got Steelheart from Super 7 line, the Ultimates. She's all right. She was never my favorite character of the Silverhawks, but she's all right. She's got that dated haircut and stuff, but the figure itself is okay. It's pretty good.
She looks like she's like leaning a little bit, like maybe her leg's not right or something.
Yeah,
you know?
Mine had a problem with its knee. It's like they cut the. You're not gonna be able to see it on here, but it's like they cut the opening for the joint in the wrong spot, and so it's like really messed up. And when you try to bend her leg, like the knee tries to separate. So I did contact Big Bad Toy Store, and they're making good on that. Hey, Shawn.
Shawn. How nice of you to join us.
Yeah, it's okay. I would say the Steel Will that I got previously and the Bluegrass are much better figures and just better characters all in all. So And then also got, if I can get this in screen,
There you go.
the McFarlane Batmobile, which I took apart completely and did a full repaint on. So just try to take some of the shine off of it and make some of the metal pieces stand out a little bit more. It's a great, I mean, for this size vehicle, typically you would expect to pay, $300, $350 for something like this.
Sure.
And it's $60. Obviously, it sold out very quickly, so it's pretty much hard to get at this point if you didn't get one. But for $60 price, it's really amazing. But it's more of like a kit, because in order to make it look right, you have to, take it all apart and repaint it, and which only took me about a day, but afterwards it looks really good. So I'm very happy with that.
Yes, but you also can actually paint, unlike some of us.
Yeah, I would say, like, most of it was spray paint, which is, anybody can do that.
Yeah.
And then the metal pieces was really just some dry brushing, so it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
If anybody does have one of these and they want to repaint it, Billy Bache has a really good video out there on at Billy Bache Customs. He's got a really good video on taking it apart. There's, actually, it's really nice because there's like several sections that you have to unscrew, but all the screws are the same size. So it's not like you have to keep them separated in terms of these ones go here and these ones go there kind of thing. But yeah, he's got a nice video if you want to take it apart and repaint it.
So now, did you actually paint the black, or did you just hit it with like a matte finish type of thing?
No, I repainted it. I've seen some people just put a matte spray on it, but I actually repainted it.
Gotcha. And I did drop a link to his video in the comments there if anyone wants to hop over and check that out. Will White, Billy Beige, great supporter of the show and the Facebook group. So definitely give him some love.
Yep. So that was my only two pickups for this week, but they were ones I enjoy. So
very nice. Shawn, pick anything up this week?
I did get a notification about an hour ago from Mondo that apparently the non-deluxe He-Man will now be being sent out. So that should be on its way to me soon. But other than that, yeah, that's, that's life.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Battle Cat is shipping, and I'm like, no, I want to try and grab one somewhere, and this is not a good time. Like,
I'm surprised that Anti-Eternia He-Man hasn't even gotten out yet, because that was a while back too, and so it's like it's interesting to see how their timeline works on their shipping and getting everything out, but it'll still be cool because I've been wanting to do the Battle Armor He-Man for how long now. So this will probably be my Battle Armor He-Man out of the two of them.
I can't make any promises, Dooch, but I may have a Battle Cat available.
Are you skipping on your Battle Cat?
I'm looking at my collection lately, and I don't know if Mondo's going to make the cut. There's just I only got so much room. I love Mondo. I really love that trap jaw that's coming out. Yeah. But Battle Cat takes up a lot of real estate, and it's kind of like I'm definitely going to, I think, wean down how much Mondo I've got, and I don't know if Battle Cat's going to make it. So I'll let you know, but just FYI.
Hit me up, buddy. Yeah, for me, Mondo, like that is definitely one. Like I don't need to be anywhere near complete. I've got Hordak, I've got Skeletor, I've got He-Man, and I've got the She-Ra. And like if I could get Battle Cat, like I'm good there. Like they could release no one else, or I could get nobody else, and that would be a great like collection there. Skelly Vader does bring up that forthcoming Mondo Beastman though.
I haven't seen anything on that. Is there like art out there for that?
Yeah, there's the concept art.
Yeah, it was more like a hint of it, if I remember right.
I think they showed the full concept art. It might have been like black and white, like, but they definitely showed a design.
Well, the one that I remember seeing, it was like a section of his chest plate and the fur. So it was just like the hey, guess what's coming kind of a promo, and Yeah, that one from them, he'd be up there on my list just because Deluxe Skeletor, Beastman, yeah, those two would definitely make the cut if they aren't back to back.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to move my Man-at-Arms, my original Scareglow, my Keldor, and maybe even my original He-Man and Skeletor if they put out a new Deluxe Skeletor, which sounds like they probably will. So
Yeah,
they've already
yeah,
alluded
I've
to
got a
it.
handful of them to try to move. So
Now, when you say original Scareglow, do you mean the original one that they released, or
Yeah.
the vintage one?
the one that they released, the first one with the black with the white bones, rather than the white with the black bones,
Gotcha.
which I think is the better version. I liked the way that the classics one kind of looked initially when they showed it, but the fact that the teeth are painted on and it's not an articulated jaw, I think I like the first one that they did better.
The first one had the more like the scythe, if I remember right, because then the second one had the halberd or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's sexier to me. The scythe, that was something that I wish they could have done in classics, and they didn't go there because that was supposed to be a 2000X deal, if I remember right. So the fact that Mondo got to do it, that was really cool.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to see.
There's not great pictures of it, but you can definitely get the feel
I wonder
of
if
it.
they're planning on that being a different buck because it looks bulkier.
I think it will be.
Oh yeah.
Which,
that's cool.
If they make that a different buck, what are the chances that Ram Man's going to probably have something to do with that in the future too? Because he looks stockier than.
Oh, I haven't seen that Orko either. That's cool.
Yep. And there's
comes
the
with like
Deluxe
4 different
Skeletor.
heads, if I remember right. Like he comes with multiple heads.
The
Orko.
Yeah,
they're even going to release the unmasked head based on the Filmation artwork.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Deluxe Skeletor, when they posted that one, they have it. It's just like the Thunder Punch and stuff, except it's Dragon Blaster for him. And when Emiliano posted that, I actually asked in the comments, is the dragon going to be articulated so he can have like an actual like dragon accessory? And he said, I cannot confirm or deny that at this point. And I'm like, that's a good maybe, at least, that we might get the articulation and that dragon could be like his pet running around.
But we will get a battle armor Skeletor too with that.
Yeah, it'll be battle armor, regular, and dragon blast.
I don't know about you guys, but growing up, that was my version of Skeletor. I loved the battle armor with like the bat logo and like something about the way that battle armor. I mean, battle armor He-Man's pretty cool, but that battle armor Skeletor was like my Skeletor. So
the thing about like that, the battle armor, that whole wave for me was almost like reinvigorating me when I was a kid of what you could do with these figures. And I always thought it was cool. Like the battle armor He-Man made it look almost like he was like part knight, part barbarian, but with Skeletor, I liked that it was almost like the middle finger to He-Man, like, you're going to go there, I'm going to go there too. And instead I'm going to make it look like Batman because of that giant, the giant bat across his chest. But yeah,
it just had like those like black stripes and stuff. Like it looked very dungeony or something. Like it just, it looked like something out of Mad Max or something like that. It just, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely agree. And they were definitely the versions I played with the most, just for the fact that like I remember my He-Man, like his harness broke in the back, so it didn't really stay on. So and that Skeletor was amazing. Let's see. So I just got one thing. Unfortunately, this has been a really bad shipping week for me. I got the Empire Toy Shop order, which just has not moved at all in over a week, because that was before our last Off-World episode when I ordered that. And then I got some eBay stuff that is just not doing anything. Now, apparently, you don't
anything good that's coming in those?
Oh yeah,
that you're really excited for?
Oh yeah,
cool. Not going to tell us though. Huh?
No spoilers, apparently.
Okay.
No, it's for some upcoming content on this show. So
Okay.
no, I will
Gotcha.
not. Which actually made us have to kind of change plans a little bit here within the past couple of days, as it looked like that wasn't going to go. But it's just weird because every time I sell something on eBay, it makes me put a tracking number in.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow this seller, it just says that it's shipped. And I have no idea who the carrier is. I have no tracking number. And I'm just sitting here like, all right, is this a scam? Like I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Let me throw this out here real quick and see what you guys think on one.
Jump on some conclusions.
I ordered a custom head from somebody on eBay, and like supposed to ship within I think 5 days, something like that. And a week goes by, I don't hear anything. There's no tracking. I message the seller and say, "Hey, just wondering if you've shipped this yet. I haven't seen any tracking." Nothing. Another week goes by, still nothing from them. I message them again. "Hey, I still haven't heard anything. I'm waiting on tracking." Nothing from them. Another week goes. So now it's 3 weeks later and still have not gotten a response or anything from them. So I, reached out to eBay and said, "Hey, didn't get this. They're not responding, whatever." So eBay refunds me. It was like $14. This isn't something major or whatever.
Right.
And so another couple weeks go by and the head shows up this week. Okay. So now I've already got my money back. The head shows up. And I didn't know what it was, because I didn't realize who the pack. So I opened the package and I realized it's this head. Yeah. And part of the head, it's a cable for X-Men, and he's got like this, like the like, I don't know if it's like a mic or whatever that he talks, and that's broken off. So like part of me is like, okay, well, I don't want to keep this thing because I already got a refund, but I don't want to send it back because I don't want to pay to ship this thing back, and it's broken. So I don't know what would you guys do in that situation?
Well, and the guy hasn't reached out, or he hasn't responded to anything. So like, why would you think that he would get any different with you going, "Hey, I want to send this back"? Like, he's clearly not paying attention to anything because he would have known already.
I mean, at this point, I'm not going to use it because it's broken and I don't want it, but I also don't want to pay to ship it back for a broken piece. So I don't know.
If he was reaching out to you, I bet you any money he'd go, "Well, you just keep it because I don't want it back broken anyway." He can't sell it anyway, or if he tried to resell it, he's not going to make his money back probably.
Yeah, I would say wait for him to reach out to you. You've done enough reaching out. Yeah. Now, like if he'd been in constant communication this whole time, different story. But he's ghosted you, so if he knows, if he looks in his account, he knows that the money got taken back. So if he wants it, he needs to reach out to you, in my opinion. Gotcha. Skelly says, "Keep it." Manny says, "Send it to Skelly so he can customize it." And Pride of Grayskull says, "It sounds like his Snake Mountain. No shipping and shitty communication with the seller." That pisses me off because I know he's talking about the classics Snake Mountain, which I'm sure he paid a pretty penny for. Like, you've got to communicate on that stuff. Ooh.
Can you imagine shipping that? Like, that would be that's like moving.
Yeah.
you got to pay for a U-Haul for that.
Well, mine literally came, was it DHL? I don't remember, maybe it was FedEx, but it literally came like in a industrial shipping box with the rails and everything. Like, I mean, it was a serious business there.
Yeah, I ended up giving mine to Len LaGuardia, and I drove it to New Jersey because I wasn't going to pay.
Him?
Yeah,
that's a hell of a gift.
We kind of
kidding.
Yeah, I mean, Len does a lot of stuff for me, so. But I wasn't going to ship that thing though. I was like, absolutely not. So I just drove it to New Jersey.
The gas is cheaper than shipping it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I did get one thing in, and this was eBay as well. It was from China, even though the tracking on here says that it came from Louisville, Kentucky. But yeah, so this I actually ordered after the other stuff, and this made it all the way here from China. Just saying.
Okay.
But it should be the silver sword of protection for the Mondo She-Ra.
Oh, okay.
So opening up, it's bubble wrap in a bubble mailer. I'm not a huge fan of the bubble mailer.
You've got a sword, right? But it's not the
The regular release She-Ra only came with the gold sword.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it looks. Let me go bigger here. So you can let me.
Embiggen yourself.
Let me whip this out. So yeah, it looks good.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks.
Yeah, somebody swiped it from the factory.
It is a little bent there. It's got a little bit of an upward, but I think a little hot water I could easily.
Yep. That's
probably it. It probably didn't pass inspection. And so yeah, somebody swiped it and put it on the eBay. So and I'm thankful for them. I'll just boil that a little bit and it should be straight as meat. Oh.
I don't know how to top that one. I'm just gonna leave it there.
I mean, we could go from there and just go right into the She-Ra series and start talking about that. I know that's like favorite subject.
Oh well,
He-Man fans. So
we have not hated it as much as other people have. We just have problems with the ending for the most part.
Yeah.
But we do have some news.
Oh, interesting.
Here we go. So yeah, this actually just came out hours ago. New Masters of the Universe exclusives incoming. We've got Vicron, Lady Slither, and Fang-Or. These are all going to be Mattel Creations exclusives. Vicron will be Masterverse, and the two Snake people will be Origin style.
Okay.
And the pre-sale on Vicron is June 6th. Fang-Or is August, and Lady Slither is September. I am glad people are getting these. I'm sure Skelly is very excited about them. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, there's a lot of characters that are not made yet. These wouldn't be the three that I would have gone with, but they look okay. I mean,
and I think that's why they make perfect candidates for that Mattel Creations exclusive.
Yeah.
Rather than taking up a slot in the line.
I mean, I would, if you're going to do, something like that, that's kind of an offshoot, I would do like a Danavis, Xanthor. There's other characters that I would choose, Celise. There's characters that may not be like a main character that you want to put in retail that would be good for this line that I would put above these. But yeah, whatever. I'm not going to pick them up, but I'm sure they'll be all right.
No, I won't either. Pride of Grayskull's excited for the Vicron. I'm sure Skelly wants them all. Shawn, any thoughts?
Every time I see something like this, and granted, I'm not keeping up with the news, even though I'm on podcasts about this stuff, I always just feel like this is them like stepping in line with classics every time. I mean, you're seeing two classics images right there, and then Lady Slither never made it to classics.
I was going to say 3 because that's Axel's concept art for Lady Slither classics.
If it was like, if I was collecting this, all of those would be an easy pass for me, because Snake Men and Vicron, for me, it's like I had a Vicron in classics for a while, and it was cool. It had that like, oh, it's a part of the history, but it never popped the same way as He-Man or any of the other, even Wondar or whatever on my shelf. But yeah, like for anybody who's wanting to be a completist and loves Masterverse or Origins, yeah, there you go. That's awesome that they're going to be next. Yeah.
Vicron could be
Classics Vicron also come with like 2 other figures as
Yep.
well.
the armor.
He came with armors, but it was just the one figure, and you just
And
pop and swap them pretty much. So
Yep, and this is going to be the same. It's going to be $1, and then the barbarian, the tank, and the spaceman. So
Gotcha.
it'll be the same thing. It could be pretty cool depending on how they do the packaging. Like that could potentially be a cool one just to kind of have in the package and sit up on the shelf. But I don't necessarily need any of them in my collection.
So another rehashing of classics.
Yes.
Rather
We
than
did
just giving us classics that we want.
we did get our first looks in hand of Dragon Blaster Skeletor and New Eternia Whiplash. I really like the Whiplash as a Caligar warrior. I don't like him as a Whiplash, if that makes sense. Especially that alternate look with the helmet and everything and the different loincloth. I could see myself picking up the Whiplash. I picked up most of the Masterverse stuff. Origins, I'm out on. But yeah, bad
Is there one
Whiplash.
that has a close up of his face on that?
Yeah. The helmet? You want the helmet?
No,
or
the other one. I agree with you that the helmet one looks kind of silly, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's not like it doesn't scream Whiplash.
No,
but it's a cool looking figure though. You know, yeah, it's like a Legion builder or Army builder kind of thing.
Exactly, especially if they go on clearance, like a lot of this stuff has. Pick up a bunch of these bad boys and just have them around.
Mm-hmm.
And they got enough different part options that you can really go to town with some varying looks for them.
Yeah.
And then of course we had the Mega Constructs Eternia Battleground building set revealed. It is only the central tower. It is priced at $65. It says it will release in mid-August, but I've already seen people online actually getting these in hand. So it comes with everything to build the central tower, the control panel, an attack track, and then in the minifigures, it's got another Battle Armor He-Man, Webstore, Buzz-Off, and Ninjor. I love my Mega Constructs, so this is definitely tempting for me.
I've got no connection to the Eternia playset. Like when I was younger and collecting Motu, I knew nothing about it until after I was already out of collecting Motu. And nothing about it to me screams Motu. Like it's more of a Thundercat looking thing than Motu, in my opinion. So I just don't have any connection with this whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my biggest thing about it when I was a kid. I remember seeing it in like a Kmart or something, and I knew about it through like the mini comics or something. I knew that this was going to happen one way or the other somehow through one way or another. When I saw it in person, I think as a kid, I just walked by it. It didn't matter to me because my biggest problem was up until now, you're telling me that the biggest thing that you could possibly get was Grayskull. That's supposed to be where all the secrets and the power are. But now you're telling me that this play set's supposed to be better than that. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, there is no way you're telling me that this thing can outrank Grayskull because Grayskull is Grayskull for Masters, you know? And so that I didn't give it the time of day just because I didn't like that they were almost like re-envisioning the mythology the way that I looked at it as a kid. So I have no nostalgic value either just because I had my prejudices. So.
Yeah, and agreed. I mean, I only know about the Eternia playset because of the internet. Like I had really no inkling about it. But the set does look cool. And it comes with an attack track. Like, when's the last time we actually got that, you know, the red and blue toy attack track? That was one of my favorite vehicles to play with as a kid. And I love this line. So
it's definitely a cool one. I was partial to the Dragon Walker.
Yeah.
But yeah, the attack track is a cool one too.
For sure. And I think that was all we had for the news.
Well, there was one other thing that came out in the last couple days from the cartoon perspective.
Hit us, Shawn. What you got?
So the newest, and Yuka was the one to break this over the weekend. Eva Lynn from the 1987 movie, Meg Foster, is going to be the voice of Motherboard in Masters of the Universe Revolution.
Interesting.
So there, and to me, that's just like that show. It's still that whole feeling for me of that show relied on the name talent and pulling in people in that way, whereas the CGI show just relied on the fun and the story to do it. So it's like it doesn't surprise me, but then I'm also like, oh, that's kind of cool if she wants to come back to it, because like I know she was at PowerCon like a couple years ago and meeting fans and stuff like that. So the fact that she's one of those actors or actresses involved with the movie who still want to embrace the fact that they were a part of the history of Masters, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something I wish that we'd had a little bit more of in Revelation. Having Blade in there, Anthony DeLongis would have loved to come back and to throw a couple voice lines down. But yeah, there's definitely been a lot of updates about the show. Now Yuka did a great video beyond this about some stuff. Apparently the audio is all done already. They're just waiting on animation. So it could be sooner than we think.
I mean, that if you remember back from the first series, like that took almost 2-3 years.
Yeah,
like the animation takes a long time.
It's really weird. I don't know if it just beforehand, in like older shows, they were just doing all this stuff well before we knew about it. But this is one series where it feels like it's taking them a really long time to get this animation done.
Well, Filmation sells too. You could reuse and, you kind of pieced them together based on a lot of stuff you already had versus creating everything from scratch. So,
well, I'm talking even in the 90s, the Batman era and everything like that. Like they weren't doing, or the beginning of computer animation, which is what they're doing now. Like, I mean, you'd have a show, have a season, and then by the, end in May or whatever, and by the next fall, they've got another season out.
Yeah, I think it's because they already knew that it was going to run for that many episodes beforehand, so they were probably animating that art before, like the season 2 was probably already finished or almost finished by the time season 1 aired.
Yeah, that's
what my guess. Whereas this, they didn't even greenlight it till well after the first one was already done.
Yeah.
So
there is a video on Yuka's YouTube channel where he got to interview Ted Biaselli and talk about the production of it. And Ted actually goes into, we get to a certain point in this episode, and then we have to go and do the next point in the second episode, and then that starts, and it's like this, almost like a revolving door of how they accomplish getting these episodes finished, and different timestamps along the way of the production of where they are with what episode. So, it's like to actually coordinate that, it must be amazing. Because it seems to me like it's a nightmare, but it also makes me think of my production with my deadlines. Every 5 days I have a new deadline, so I'm at one point or another with the previous, and then the 5th deadline hits, and then I'm needing to kick in with the next ones. So that one's worthwhile if you're interested in seeing at least a behind the scenes take of how the production works, because it's like the voice acting happens and then the animation takes X amount of time based on those performances and stuff. So at least we know what one's first, egg or the chicken in that case. So
do you know if on this one, if they're doing the same thing where it's like each episode is a different writer, or if it's?
I would assume so. That seems.
I felt like that was it made it a little non-cohesive last time. And I know that like the original series had a bunch of different writers for the different episodes, but they also weren't overarching stories that went from one to another. You kind of had a reset at the end of each episode, and the next episode was its own thing. With this, because you're doing a series, I think having the different writers made it a little bit choppy, because some episodes were really well written, and then I felt like other episodes were not quite up to par.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff that they should take another pass at. One big thing for me, and I think we're kind of picking up on the same thing, but I think a big part of it is because of when they were recording the dialogue for episode or the first season. It was during the height of COVID.
Mhm.
Everybody was recording alone, and it really feels like it. I mean, it's even going back now and watching it. I picked up on it the first watch through, and the more I watch it, the more it stands out that like you can just feel that they weren't together.
Right.
Like, whereas Filmation, they were literally in the same room, Alan's freaking doing 5 voices. He's arguing with himself, and John Seven and Melindy, and like there's that energy that you pick up, and so I'm hoping for this next one that they're even if they're not necessarily together, maybe you're zooming or something like they need that energy. And I am glad again that they replaced Sarah Michelle Gellar because she just was not right for Tila.
Well, that's every time we talk about it, I always say like, yes, it's a different take and all that stuff, but every time I've seen Chris Wood do like the "I have the power" or for attorney, it's like that dude was putting everything into that.
Yep.
And I still think that was one of the MVP performances of that first season because I didn't know what to expect out of him, but now that we've seen it, I'm like, yeah, that works. I need more of that for the upcoming season too.
And the nice thing about that is now Melissa Benoit is taking over Tila, who is literally Chris's wife in real life. So you figure if nothing else, they would probably get to record together. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more.
Dude, I don't recognize that name. Is she in something that I would know her from?
Supergirl.
Oh,
she played Supergirl
in the series.
Yep,
yes.
The CW one. Yep, she was the main character. So, so we should at least, and like I said, they're married in real life. They met. Chris Wood played. He was another Kryptonian. What was it?
Mon-El?
Daxamite. He was a Daxamite on the series. Mon-El. And then they end up dating and getting married in real life. So we should actually see some connection between Adam and Tila in this next one. A little chemistry.
Gotcha.
I'm excited still.
I couldn't get into that Supergirl series. It was a little bit too much of the relationship side and not enough of the like actual superhero stuff. So
I liked the first season a lot, but then it was on NBC, I think, the first season.
Yeah.
And then once it moved to CW, then it got really, dramatic.
CW.
Yeah.
I do like the Superman one that they're doing. I think that one's really good.
Yeah, I haven't kept up on it, but I've enjoyed what I've seen.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. So, Curtis.
Yes, sir.
We have not dove deep into the Ackerman brain when it comes to Motu. So
you never know what you might get. So.
I never know with you.
He's our box of chocolates.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your origin story, what attracted you to Masters, and what's your preferred iteration?
I was a Filmation guy. I loved the figures. I never read any of the comics. Like when I was a kid, I would get the figures, it had the comic, and I would just toss the comic.
So you've always hated reading.
I did. Yeah. I mean, I liked reading the Golden books, and I liked the art in those, and the stories in the Golden books, but the mini comics didn't do anything for me. So before anybody yells at me, that's a mini comic fan. I'm sorry. It wasn't my thing. So my version of He-Man was really the Filmation series. I love the series, watched it every day. As far as the figures go, I just love that it was different from everything else out at the time. Like everything else, you had you know, the 3 3/4, little skinny, like nothing
Yep.
characters, and then you got these big, giant, muscular, like muscles on top of muscles guys that had these, you know, action features and different things that they could do. And this one's spraying water, and this one's neck goes up, and this one's spring loaded. There was so much coolness to all of those. So I fell in love with that whole thing. And yeah, I just, you know, I think I was really heavy into Motu all the way up until the 87 movie. And that killed it for me. I was done. But even like throughout She-Ra, like I know a lot of folks will say like when She-Ra came out, they, you know, kind of jumped off because they felt like they were watering it down to bring girls into the line and all this and that. I loved the whole She-Ra series. I watched the series. My sister collected the toys, so I got to play with like all the Horde characters that she would collect and play with them with my characters without having to buy. It was, you know, super awesome because, you know, for my birthday, I'd get the He-Man and Skeletor figure and all those. And then for her birthday, she'd get the Horde and I would play with those as well. So it's like I had 2 birthdays.
It's your birthday week.
Right. So,
no,
yeah,
there is no such thing as a birthday week.
His birthday year.
Stand my ground.
It's the birthday year.
Yeah. So I just, I loved it. There are characters that I felt a certain way about in my childhood, and then other characters that I've like, and I it's kind of dwindled over time, and other ones that I felt stronger as time went on. So like early on, I had no real connection to Zodak or the Cosmic Enforcers, but as time went on and I grew older, like that became very intriguing to me. When I was younger, I loved Stratos. Like that, I just thought, you know, if you could ever ask me, like, pick one superpower, it was always flight. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'd love to fly.
Always.
And this dude's got wings and a jetpack. That's like doubly cool. Like there's, you know, even if one fails, he's got the other. So this guy's like super cool. And over time, I just wasn't as intrigued with that character as I grew into adulthood. So that's kind of interesting. You know, how my relationship with certain characters changed. But yeah, I just, you know, since I was a kid, I've loved this thing. I remember my most vivid memories as a kid opening Christmas presents is opening He-Man figures. You know, I vividly remember getting Battle Armor Skeletor and, you know, opening Castle Grayskull. You know, there's certain things that, you know, you could pick a year even after that I should have better memory of that I have no memory of, but I do remember those.
And it's funny because I even remember, like, I don't know if it ever happened to you guys, but we were living in Michigan, so it had to have been like 91, 92 around there. And I got Grizzlor for Christmas. And that like blew my mind because like nothing had been on shelves. Like I already had a new Adventures figures at that point. Like, and then I get a Grizzlor and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how is this possible? And it's so weird because we are so alike. And you irritate the piss out of me, and I don't understand.
I think that's why we irritate each other because we're so alike.
I think so. We need the dichotomy there. Welcome, my buddies customs. Thanks.
I remember one Halloween, my sister went as She-Ra and I went as Hordak.
Nice,
and it was like super cool. So.
My older sister, she actually we had it for years, and it's lost time. But my mom actually made a She-Ra costume, like cut open like cardboard tubes, like from paper towel for the bracers, and she sewed a lot back in the day, and she sewed up like a dress and everything, and it was really cool.
Matt never looked better on Halloween.
I rocked those gold heels.
He just pulled the skirt up just a little higher. It's like, hey, you sure you want that Toblerone? Yeah, okay. I'm all about it.
Thanks to both Ostradamus and J Mac. They are saying that Legends of Grayskull feels like home.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We couldn't have done it without any of you guys. I'm going to take a step away from Curtis a minute here. He doesn't mind when I cut him off. And I do want to promote our Legendati group, which Curtis has been a huge force behind actually pushing that. Shawn and I created it, and we let it sit there. And then Jesse and Curtis came and joined our family, and now we're actually like a real group. So check that out, Legendati, over on Facebook. And you can actually celebrate all of our shows there. Legends of Grayskull, Off-World, with its inferior theme music, and Shooting the Shelf. Anru says that he thinks his last Motu was 89 before 2000X, and I bought them all myself. Went to Walmart in between college classes. I remember getting into the 2000X, and it was like my senior year of high school. And we'd hit. There was a North Side Toys R Us, there was a South Side Toys R Us. We'd hit the KB Toys in each of the malls. There was 3 malls in Tucson when I was living out there then. And it was a great time. It was just awesome seeing them on the shelves again and having the disposable income to just go crazy.
That's one of my biggest regrets, is that I didn't know about Mike Young Productions or 2000X when it happened. Like, I didn't find out till many, many years later, because I love that series. And I wish I would have been able to experience that when it first came out. But yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Yeah, and that cartoon's just amazing. Like,
the best part about it for me is it doesn't matter when you discover it; it's still freaking great. Like, I missed the boat on that by about 3 years, and I ended up I had some like dental surgery stuff going on around 2005 or 6, and I was home from work, and I ended up just binging it on YouTube, and I was sitting there going, I saw one episode on Cartoon Network because I didn't have cable. And I didn't like it. I don't know what episode I even watched anymore because I wasn't really even paying attention to it. I think the thing that blew my mind was they weren't using the Filmation theme or making the transformation similar to Filmation. Yeah. It felt very stock, and it bugged me in that way. But then when I actually watched it later and I watched it for the story, I'm just like, this is what I've been waiting for them to do with a He-Man show ever since I was a kid. Because I love that, yes, you have your one-offs, but you had your overarching in the story as well. And I binged the hell out of that. And then I was running around, and I'm like, I know it's not on TV anymore, but this is amazing. You got to watch this to everybody that would listen to me.
Yeah, like the one thing that was jarring for me, I think, was seeing a small Prince Adam, because
I love that.
In Filmation, he was the same size as He-Man. He just wasn't the same color and didn't have the same armor and stuff. He got a good tan when he raised the sword. But so seeing a small Adam was a little jarring. And then the whole, Keldor, Skeletor, uncle kind of thing was a little weird. But I agree with you. Like, when I finally found it, which wasn't till maybe about 3 or 4 years ago that I actually watched it. And I was like, how did I not hear about this? Like, how were people not talking about how great this series is? And then I get done with, what is it, 2 seasons? Yep. And then I'm like, how did they stop there? Like, why is there not more of this? I want more.
It's one of those problems for me where it's like, okay, Mattel took back the rights, and then they have it exclusive on their channel. And I'm like, oh, how cool would it be if they could actually like at least do one more season of it to at least get to the Horde? But considering Dean Stefan's no longer with us, he passed away, and all of those voice actors have gotten older over the last 20 years. I'm like, it's like one of the most unfulfilled things I've ever imagined having in my life. I want them to go back to it, but you won't get that right. And again, I don't feel like it could ever happen the way that it happened originally, and I don't want them to do it if it can't feel that way ever again,
Yeah, I got the same problem. I did finally finish Young Justice, but they had the same thing where they had the 2 seasons in Cartoon Network, and then that 5-year hiatus, and then they came
Mhm.
back and we got 2 seasons, and it's like it's good, but it's not the greatness that those first 2 seasons
Yeah.
are. And there's stuff that happens in there where it's like, if this had come out when it was supposed to, like, this wouldn't have gone this way.
Mhm.
So as much as I would have loved them to continue, I think if anything, you have more luck of that hitting right if you do like a comic continuation, just because you have a little bit more control over the elements, like you said, the voices and everything else. So
I
Well,
just think MYP was a missed opportunity because I think, like, I never heard about it when it was out, and I like at all. And I think if every original Motu fan had seen that when it first came out and watched it, I can't imagine it not going longer than 2 seasons. Like,
Mhm.
you know, because everybody would have fallen in love with it. But I think people just
you'd
didn't
be
know.
surprised.
I think it's the best. And listen, I'm a Filmation guy. I
Me
live
too.
and die Filmation.
Yep.
But I think MYP is the best He-Man we've gotten.
I will agree with that. But and especially at the time, there were a lot of people that were unhappy with it, and same thing Sean's echoing. Like, it doesn't have the Filmation theme. It was trying, you know, what we celebrate it for now, and I agree was the right thing to do, was to make it its own thing. But at the time, there's a lot of fans who had problems with that, and
Well,
you know, it was very divisive.
The thing about it in that era is we never had a reboot.
Right.
This was one of the very first times that we had a legitimate, okay, here's a brand that we knew and we grew up with and it was near and dear to our hearts. Let's reboot it and let's have a new generation see it. And I mean, technically New Adventures was, I'm not even going to say that because this is like legit. They were trying to get to Eternia. They were getting back to the barbarian aspect.
New Adventures was not a reboot. New Adventures
it was a
written
sequel
to continue the story.
So the idea, for me at least, like when I watched it, when I think reboot, I'm figuring they're going to at least have nods to what Filmation did. Like at least in the score, you might hear dun, 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 or something, you know?
Yeah.
Because like even with the new Thundercats that came out, they had at least a little tiny bit of like dun, 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 on the beginning. It's like, okay, you gave at least a little bit of something, but this, it was like Lord of the Rings score and all that. And it was like, this isn't what I was thinking it was going to be. The transformation is like one of the lower points of that entire series. But if you watch it for everything else, it's like, man, He-Man goes up against such freaking great stakes every freaking time he becomes He-Man. And you see him get tested constantly of the power getting thrown at him and like going up against the giants and in the Buzz Off episode and the Council of Evil one, which when I saw that one, I was just sitting there going, I need a cigarette. This is the best sex I've ever had in my life. Like, I could not believe that 3-parter. It was like the greatest He-Man story I've ever seen on a like animated wise and stuff. And it's like, you know, that show just like, it took it to a whole new level that I needed it to.
Yep.
Manny brings up a point here, which I didn't know this because, like I said, I didn't know about at the time. But it said Cartoon Network also screwed up because they kept changing the schedule for it. And the reason why I wanted to pull that up, and I think that's so significant, is like when we were kids, Filmation was on every day. You knew after school was going to be on, you were going to see it, whatever. But at the time that 2000X came out, this is like, you don't really have TiVos at that time. You don't have stuff that's on demand where it's streaming. Like, you can watch it whenever you want now. So you really did need to know when something was on if you either wanted to watch it live or record it. So yeah, that's a really important part for that period of time. Like if MYP came out in, let's say, 2020, and you were able to just go and stream and binge the whole series whenever you wanted to, that would be totally different than when it came out. Like, you need viewers to show up every week and watch it back in that time period.
They it was originally part of the Toonami block, and then it moved off the Toonami block, and then it went back on the Toonami block, and it changed nights and it changed time slots, and it was all over the place. You know, even us that were following it, looking for it, looking in the TV guide, like we had a hard time keeping up with it. So a guy who's home from college for a weekend and his parents have cable, the odds of him catching it are like zero.
Right.
You know, it's just, and you know, there's a whole thing. You know, Cartoon Network did not want to promote it properly. They had their own shows coming out that kind of fit into their same category.
Mhm.
You know, there's definitely some talk about them intentionally trying to tank it to get the time slot back, and lots of politics, unfortunately, at the end of the day. And yeah, Anru, I usually did. I actually had.
Yeah, that's
I have
the
no
problem,
idea
though.
where.
In order to record the VCR, you need to know when it's going to be
Yeah.
on. That's the problem. Like,
Well,
it's not like once TiVo came out, you could just say, "I want you to record every episode of this series," and
Yep.
regardless of when it came out, it would do that. But before that, when you're doing VCR, you need to know exactly what time, what channel it's going to be on in order to record it.
Yep.
That's why they sold the figures with the VHS tapes, at least.
Yep.
Like, that was mind blowing to me. Like, they did do the original series too, though.
They
the
still
Filmation.
the
But
first
then they
wave
did the
had
Courage of
Filmation
Adam.
episodes, and then they released some MYP
Yeah.
episodes as well.
Yeah, because there was Courage of Adam later on and stuff. But yeah,
I do think I remember seeing the toys at that time, and I was not impressed. And I'm still not impressed with the 2000X toys, just because I feel like it didn't go so far as to have good articulation.
No,
but it's not as simplified in the same buck as the Filmation or the Vintage series. So it was like it was updated sculpts that looked cool, but then they're very wonky in terms of how they moved. And I could not get into those figures. Now those stactions are fantastic, and that's some of the best. Like, if you have some of those and you got them on your shelf, like, people walk in and they see those and they go, "That is awesome." I don't care if you're a He-Man fan or not. They walk in and see those stactions and they fall in love.
yeah,
Sure.
and that's one of the problems. It's like it was all done by the Four Horsemen. That was the
Right.
first Masters work they did, but like they designed every figure to have, you know, wrist, elbow, shoulder. You know, they designed those figures to have that articulation, and then Mattel's just like, yeah, we're just gonna do shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, like, so if we could have gotten, if Mattel had more faith in the Horsemen back then, those figures would have been even more amazing, because they were all individual sculpts. They were great sculpts, but they were just, they were gimmicky, you know, and to me, not even gimmicky in the good sense like the Vintage was. Like, everybody just kind of had like a punch or a kick or something, you know, like there wasn't even the uniqueness.
I've argued that on the show before, but my biggest problem is, at what point do they need to have a plunger on the back of Skeletor and Beastman and stuff? Like, when I found that out, when I opened my first one, I actually got like, I was angry because I'm like, I don't need this bullshit plunger on this figure. Give it to me like the original, where he has the twist of the waist. That's all I'm asking for. Because otherwise,
Beastman, he
something
have his arms here or up here.
Or up there, yeah.
That's the only ones where they locked into place.
Yeah.
He pushed that button back and went,
it's like
that's not even creative.
What Curtis is saying about the stactions actually is a perfect example of that toy line could have been just statues. And I would have probably appreciated that better than what Mattel did with them, with how these features worked. Because I'm like, this is not what this line was. You're messing it up. Stop. You know, and then now they're getting to Origins, and I'm like, see, if you would have done that back in the 2000X days, you would have had me just like giggling like a little kid running to the cash register at Toys R Us that day.
Well, and I'm going to be a little hypocritical here, because like the thing that I loved about the Vintage line with He-Man and Skeletor specifically was the different I loved each of the different versions that we got. And then you get to the 2000X, and I'm like, do I need a Stilt Walker He-Man and a Snake Armor He-Man and a 50,000 variant He-Man? Like, I don't know. I think it was just too much, which is silly to me when I think about it, because I love the different variants in the Vintage line, but for some reason it just didn't hit the same.
But they were creative and there weren't as many in the vintage line.
Yeah.
It wasn't every wave.
Well, and I think it was more spread out. Like it was
Right, that's
like
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
like every few waves they're like, okay, we probably need to throw a He-Man and a Skeletor back out there, but let's do something creative.
And the only ones you needed, if you wanted any other ones, in my opinion, were Fire Armor Skeletor and Ice Armor He-Man. Leave it at that. Stick with those. The other ones, they were there. If you're a completist, I'm sure you appreciated how many there were. But for me, the minute I saw Ice Armor He-Man and Fire Armor Skeletor, I was like,
yeah,
that's hot. I literally was like, I cannot wait to get and I had them in hand, and there's a Skeletor without the plunger on his back. Yep. So that one actually was my favorite Skeletor in the line compared to the traditional looking one.
I will throw honorable mentions out to the battle sound, because they had the chrome. They're almost like the battle armor, and they had originally Alan and John did the voices, and then they actually re-released the He-Man in a gold version that had Cam Clark doing the voice.
Do you guys know what a Waffles He-Man is? I don't know what that is. Is that a real thing?
I'm trying to think of what variant.
Can't think of anything that he's referring to. I think he's just making a joke.
Okay.
And then I will throw it's one of the it's so bad it's good is the Jungle Attack He-Man, where he's done up like Rambo. Like it's not like He-Man to me at all, but it's so silly that it's like, okay, like, and it was first wave, so I was you were so starved then you're like, I'm just gonna buy the whole first wave.
That one,
Jungle Attack. Oh, he's still sitting there. Come on, let's go home. You know,
that one definitely had that vibe. Like somebody just watched the orgy chamber scene in Conan, and they're like, "Let's see what that looks like on He-Man." And then it's like, "Hey, did you get your work done today?" "Yeah, this is the new He-Man that I produced. Put it in a box. Let's get it out there." It's like, I meant it as a joke. Sorry, you know. It's got that vibe about it, and not even talking Disco Skeletor, for Christ's sake. Jeez.
No, the end of the line. The end of the line was unfortunately very, very bad. I'm trying to recoup some money, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, they all dropped the ball on it. Mattel did not promote the toy line like they needed to. They had 2 commercials over the whole run of it. I mean, I don't remember any, but like I remember a ton of New Adventures commercials growing up. And I'm sure you guys can remember the vintage toy commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they were everywhere. And 2000X had 2 over the, 2-3 years that they were running. Like,
have you guys ever made it through New Adventures?
Yes.
I've tried like 4 times. And like I can get through like 1 episode, maybe 2. And I'm like, I just can't take it. Like, it's so bad. It's so freaking terrible.
I think Shawn only watched 1 episode in his life because I made him for the show.
We watched it on the show, and when it was finished, I was like, "What the crap did you just make me watch?" Basically,
it's so bad. I don't even know what they were thinking.
That's actually one, because I'll say it again. There are some really good arcs in that show. They did like the Thundercats, where they would have like a 5-parter here and there. And those are really good. And there's a handful of gems in there, and they really did work out a season-long story, and they had character growth and arcs, and like there's some good stuff in there. There's also a lot of bad stuff. So I know we talked before ages ago, and I think I need to do it eventually here. I need to just make a list of, if you're going to watch New Adventures, watch these episodes. Because it's definitely not one, like I would never watch it all the way through again. There is no reason to. It's at best 50% good episodes. So I need to sit down and actually make a list of these 10 episodes. These are the ones you watch.
So real quick about the 2000X line, and then I promise I'll stop. Honor you over here. He reminded me of something. I was like, I knew there was another point I was trying to make. The Battle Sound ones were cool because in the show, Battle Sound Skeletor became the Ambrosia powered up version of Skeletor, just like Ice Armor He-Man showed up on the show. just like the samurai versions even showed up on the show. So I always loved that if you had those variants, they actually used them at least, compared to Filmation always just being classic looking He-Man, classic looking Skeletor. And I loved that. Actually got me excited to get some variants, because I was one of those kids where if it was on the show, there's a pretty good chance I would gonna go and find it at the toy store. And they did it to me in my 20s even. So
hell,
I
didn't even use the shield or the battle axe. Like, we didn't even get the stuff from the original He-Man.
We got the shield on one episode.
Yeah,
didn't even use it. And
Adam used it.
Adam used it. And at least on 2000X, they even did the shield on the one episode. So it's like, okay, you know, you're doing things that I appreciated it, because as a kid, I was always like, He-Man has more than just a sword. Come on, you know.
Right.
They just kept it to that. So.
And my buddy's custom says that he grew up on New Adventures, so he loved it, and he went back and watched it, and it's not bad, but he does have nostalgia for the show. So
that makes me think of Count Rugen from Princess Bride, where he says that may be the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. How marvelous!
I completely get it, buddy. Like, it's definitely one of those things
you've grown up with. That is not the one I would wish on anybody. I'm sorry.
But yes, definitely, you know, and I know that's why Filmation to me still resonates to this day. Granted, there are a lot more good episodes of Filmation than New Adventures, but like, it's one of those, like, the nostalgia definitely plays a part in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and listen, I don't get too many chances to be on Legend of Grayskull podcast and talk He-Man, so I have to bring up Golden Disc of Knowledge. Like, for me, that is like the primo top of the top. Like, the whole Xanthar redemption tale. How he goes from being this guy that basically fell for one of Skeletor's plots. He's like all these other minions that we see following around Skeletor that for some reason follow him and do his bidding, and they don't know why. And for him to go from there to redeeming himself without any, hint of there's going to be a reward or something at the end, and then they make him a cosmic enforcer. I just absolutely love that singular episode, and it changed my entire view on Masters of the Universe and the Cosmic Enforcer specifically, and that's when I fell in love with the Cosmic Enforcer.
That's what did it. I've always wondered this.
That one episode changed everything for me.
Now, is that one that are you talking as a kid that changed everything, or that's one when you revisited it?
Later on when I revisited it? I don't even remember seeing it as a kid, but watching it. And I mean, listen, we all mess up throughout our lives. We make mistakes, and there's certain times where we're going to look for redemption, or we're going to look to, better ourselves, or, be a better person than we were the day before, or whatever that case may be. And to see that story arc and see, across that episode, what Xanthor goes through, and then to, at the end, get rewarded by becoming a Cosmic Enforcer, just like it's very emotional for me. And I think that really, in a nutshell, sums up what Motu was about, as far as it was all about a good heart. Like, even the people make fun of the little notes at the end where they talk, give the little, their little breakdown at the end of the story and stuff. But it was about being a good person. Like, that's what that show was. And to me, that episode really just encapsulates that. So
that's interesting to me, because the listeners have heard this tons of times out of my mouth, but House of Shakoti was always one of my absolute favorites. Part of the reason of that is it did for me what that episode did for you, where I'm watching this kid in this situation where if I was a kid in there and I was having to fight the darkness, and I was having to go up against these things in the dark and these demon creatures, and that giant, the darkness has risen at the end of all that stuff. as a kid, it would have literally made me just cringe in a corner and probably like bawl my eyes out because I wouldn't have known how to handle this. And then at the end of that episode, the end of the two-part, you have that moment where Stanley just comes out with the power sword, and he doesn't get to say by the power of Grayskull, but he's just like, I'm not afraid. And he deflects the bolt so he could save He-Man. And as a kid, I was like, yes, like that was one of my favorite moments of the entire Filmation series. And it was because it made me feel like even if I'm not brave, I could still try, I could still attempt to do something bigger than myself. So in that way, it's like, I'm not the biggest Filmation guy, admittedly, but that one was a powerful one for me when I saw it, because it was that feeling of, even if you have something so big that it scares you, you got to at least try to stand up to it and try to do something about it. So,
and
it spoke to me.
If you would like to hear Shawn and I talk for over 2 hours about House of Cody, follow the link that's down in the chat right now. That is actually, I know we talked about it a bit in part 1, our non-live episode 100, but that is the first thing that Shawn and I collaborated on, and that got the ball rolling for all of this. So
even as a kid, I remember that part where she was laughing, like the big face was in front of Stanley, and she's laughing, and then it just faded into her lips. And for some reason, when he walked into them, I was kind of like, I kind of want to know what that feels like. And I was like, what is going on with this?
She was
it confused the hell out of me.
Faux show. I got a tingly in my... No, we're not going to do that.
Kind of made me feel funny, like when we climbed the rope in gym class.
We finally got somebody younger than me. My buddy's Customs was born in '86, so yeah, perfect age for that show. He loved having the figures and the electronic sword and Skeletor staff. I had that Skeletor staff too. That thing was awesome. It had like light up eyes and sound effects. And I hope he wants to try and get a working one. I hope you get it, because that was a badass toy. All right, let's switch gears. Oh no, Shawn's got.
There he goes.
This is me. I just wanted to share this. That is some artwork that I commissioned from Kevin Sharp.
Yep.
That's my updated version of Xanthor fighting the good fight. So
very nice.
Yeah, I love that character. So wanted to show that.
I love it. Yeah, one of my personal favorite pieces of art that I have is the She-Ra on Swiftwind up there, and that is by Mr. Shawn Scavarna. So
that guy's a jerk.
Yeah, but he does good art.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Oh, now Curtis, my buddies, brings up a good point.
Okay.
If Mattel Creations released an Origins figure for Xanthor,
I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Yeah.
He will put his money where
I would buy multiples. I would need one in the box. I would need one at least, if not more, out of the box. And yeah.
He needs one in every room in the house.
And he would need to have the removable helmet, or at least an alternate head, with being able to hold the helmet.
Yeah, because there's that one scene where he's actually holding the helmet on his side, and he's got that long flowing hair and the goatee, and
yeah, that's definitely a good episode.
If there's anybody out there, and I've contacted James Etok and Chris Oneda and several people that deal in cells. Yeah. If anybody's got a cell of Xanthor in the Cosmic Enforcer uniform, I am looking for it. I will pay premium dollar for that. I've got pictures of Xanthor before the transformation.
Yep.
I've got cells of him before the transformation. And I've even got a drawing of him that was the initial sketch drawing for the cell.
Yep.
With the Cosmic Enforcer uniform, but not a cell of him in that. So
you are 2 years too late. I actually held one in my hand at the last PowerCon in California. There was a lady there that had a ton of cells, and one of them was And the reason I remember it was because I was walking around with Motu Joe T.
Yeah.
And he's a big Zodak fan too. He's a big Zodak fan. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I was at this booth. He's like, I probably got to get it. He's like, I was at this booth. Excuse me. And they had a cell of Zodak, but without his helmet on. And of course, me being I'm like, that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, I saw it. It was the Cosmic Enforcer, but he didn't have the helmet. I'm like, no, that's Xanthor. I'm telling you. And we walked over there, and I'm like, no, see, that's Xanthor. And I pulled it up online to show him who Xanthor was. And he's like, oh, okay, I don't need it then. And he put it back. So.
Okay, so somebody was at PowerCon 2 years ago and sees this video, and you found it.
That last California one, I wonder if we could.
I've been chasing that down. I can't remember if it was. I think it might have been James. It might have been Chris. I'm not sure. One of them told me that they got a bunch of cells because they actually went to the warehouse that housed all the cells, and they were burning these things. Like they were taking them out and burning the cells because they just couldn't store them anymore. And like he gathered up a whole bunch of them, and I'm like, and so. At the time when I was talking to them, they're like, hey, it may not exist anymore. So at least, if nothing else from this episode, you've given me hope.
There's at least one out
in existence.
But yeah, that would have been Chris. James got a lot of his from the same warehouse, but Chris started going there when they sold the warehouse, and they were like clearing everything out. And anything that was left went to that Animation Legends website. So after, and Chris managed to get some, but yeah, it's all right. There's at least one floating around out there.
Hit me up.
We might have to do some digging because I bet we could find the PowerCon vendor list from like 2 years ago. Like,
dude, that would be amazing.
I can even picture which corner it was on. Like I remember that. Like she had a ton of great stuff there.
See, this is my punishment for not being friends with you 2 years ago.
It is. If you weren't an asshole for 2 years, then you would have a Xanthor cell.
I'm just picturing it though. It's like this year at Christmas, Curtis gets that in the mail, and he's gonna be bawling worse than he does at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2's ending, probably if he opens that up and there's Xanthor in the Cosmic Enforcer armor. Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
That would be. That was like me when I finally got my King Helios from Curse of the Spellstone. He was the fire people.
Yep.
I managed to track down a cell of it's him with the fire cat.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like, all right, that's amazing, and it's awesome. I do have like a good He-Man and a good Tila and all that, but like. Those special ones, like those mean even more to me because there are only a handful of those ever made, and then you got the Vinegar Syndrome and everything else that's destroying them. So,
yeah.
But yeah, if only I'd known. Let's stop for a quick plug here. If I can share my screen. I do want to promote our number one most recurring guest host, Matthew Rodriguez. I want to check in with his Armies of Ashmore. If you guys have not,
it's there
yet. Not yet, almost.
Isn't that the number?
109.
Oh, okay.
96%.
We're at 105,603. We got to get 109,200. So
we can do that by the end of the show, right?
Come on, guys. Manny, my buddy. Come on, Skelly Gator. Where's that big Snake Mountain money?
Yeah. We are like within kissing distance of this thing.
Oh yeah, $4,000 left. Just clicked over. 15 days to go. It was 16 when we started the episode, but. Yeah, we're gonna nail this, no problem. He's already released the weapon pack. He released the head packs. The albino warrior Casbar came out today.
Yeah,
the translucent one is unlocked as well, right?
I thought he just unlocked the albino so far.
Yeah, I don't think that one got unlocked yet.
I think it's unlocked. I don't think that I don't think it has a name or anything yet, but because it was supposed to unlock at the same dollar amount. Wasn't it?
Yeah, but he unlocked Caspar early.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
Gotcha.
gonna unlock them both at 150, and he unlocked it today, which he can do what he likes. But yeah, I was really happy because I wanted that one.
Yeah,
But yeah,
there's
the translucent one, I guess that and the Wave Rider, is that what his name is? Wave.
Keep scrolling down there, Matt.
I
Wave
wanted to
something.
stop and show him the colors there. Yeah, so Caspar
Yeah.
is unlocked now. Nope, he's still
Oh,
got Millwood
150.
locked.
Okay.
They were both supposed to be 150, and then the Wave Walker is
Wave
200.
Walker. Yeah.
But yeah, Matt likes he just likes throwing stuff out. He likes the fans, so he's been throwing stuff out ahead of time.
You know, it'd be nice if people liked him too, but that's all right. I mean, they like his toys, and that's good enough.
Yeah, and his comics. He's got good comics.
Yeah, good comics, good toys.
CJ and Andrew do great work. So
Yeah.
yeah.
As someone who's done fan art of these of one of these figures, I did the Rydor one just for fun a couple weeks ago. I can tell you that the amount of work and detail in these figures is amazing. Because my hand cramped up so many times trying to get the details right. I just finally go, it's good enough, and I posted it because there is a certain point in details where I just go, I just don't have it in me. I'm just gonna get out something so I can feel like I accomplished something tonight.
Come on, Emiliano.
So yeah.
Yeah, my buddy, he's I highly recommend picking these up. They're going to be the cheapest they're going to be off of here. Even individual figures are 65 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I got to imagine they're going to be at least 75 at retail. And yeah,
the Kickstarter ones, I see somebody's asking about the packaging, and I know we haven't seen the packaging yet, but it's going to have different packaging for the Kickstarter versus retail, correct?
Yes, so the figures will be packaged in a clamshell window box something. And then for Kickstarter only, it's going to have a sleeve to go over the box.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
You even get that little added benefit. We do not know what the packaging looks like. We know what it's going to function like, and we know that Nate Barch is drawing it. So it's going to be amazing. No worries.
The amazing, talented Nate Barch.
Exactly.
And humble.
Mm-hmm.
Very humble.
Too humble. God, I haven't thrown on the weapons pack yet, but
did you see that that shield that Eric Miller posted on Instagram?
The black one?
Yeah.
Yeah, where did that come from? Was that just something he whipped up?
I guess I don't know if Matt sent him one to paint, but it's weird because I've seen that shield a million times, that blue one that you got on the screen there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never popped to me that that's a Triceratops head.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never picked that up. It was this triangular, whatever shield, diamond shaped shield. But the way that he painted it, it really popped. And I was like, holy shit, that's a Triceratops head on the shield.
Did you notice in the axe that's also?
Yeah, I love the axe for that reason.
I don't.
Look at the axe. See the small side, that's the nose. And then you got the little eye, and then you got the horn.
Oh shit! I didn't notice that either.
That's the thing. Like I love that. I needed this in my life because this reminds me of the beginning of Masters. Their vehicles would always have that animal totem kind of vibe going on. And when I see how it's integrated into this, and there's a character that is not in this Kickstarter that I'm hoping they get to eventually if this goes well. And I'm actually doing some fan art of him on the side too. And when I do that, I'm like, the amount of just how that works with the weapons to fit the motif is just next level for me. I love that it has that much personality to these figures and their weaponry and the accessories.
Well, and I like how it's it's all the same weapons. And then you even saw the one, like you said, that Eric Miller painted up. But I've seen these in person multiple times, and they're amazing. But then I see that Ankylosaurus shield there in the green and the purple, and I'm like, holy shit! That, again, that pops again. Just simple color swap just makes it seem like a whole new weapon, even though it's not. And that's great sculpts there to work off of. So yeah, so if you haven't jumped on this yet, oh, and don't even forget about the design your own warrior. You know, so you can actually get any of the 4 dinosaurs because there are 2 Triceratops. You can get any of them in a light gray unpainted plastic. So if you've got a color scheme in mind you want to do, throw one of these on and you're all set to just paint.
Here's that one that I was talking about. Like something about the eyes, I think, is what made this pop for me.
Yep.
And I was like, oh shit,
and he did a little bit more of the is it dry brushing or like there's a little bit more of a depth
work
like in there, you know.
Like hold on, let me get where my cursor's at. Like this part is a different color than that part, which really kind of separates it and makes it really does make it pop. And then like on the horn part, you can see like he did like a wash or something to where it really went into the crevices, and it makes those horns kind of stick out too. So yeah, I saw that today and I was like, holy shit, I've been on this Kickstarter so many times and I've never noticed that that's a Triceratops head. So,
I thought it was a symbolic thing, but this is the first where I noticed the eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like when I saw that, when you sent that to us, I was like, holy crap, it actually is the head. It's not just like a symbolism of the head. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So
yeah, and just the scale of it, like Manny said, they look like the 80 toys that grow in the water. Yeah, I mean, you can search up Defenders of Eden toys on Facebook, and we got a group there, and I've shared pictures I've taken, and Matt's wife Rachel has been amazing in taking pictures and stuff of various lines, and like even classics, like they tower over them.
Well, not only the height, but they're just beefy.
Like,
they're
wide.
Yeah. I mean, it does give me some of that same original Motu vibes, like the muscular, just like stacked, guys.
And then there is
a shit house.
There is, of course, the comics too. There's an Armies of Ashmore solo book that's only going to be available through the Kickstarter. And then you can also get caught up on the actual Defenders of Eden, the comics, the mini comics. You can pre-order the trade that will have issue 4 in it that hasn't been released yet. So, I mean, there's just so much good stuff on here, and there's really no reason not to get in on it now when it's going to be the cheapest.
What's that other new IP that came out that's related to Motu? You know what I'm talking about? It was a Kickstarter not too long ago or something. I don't know if it was Kickstarter, but it was a new line. They're like the vintage Motu.
Legends of Dragonor.
Yeah. Did you guys get any of those?
Got you. Yeah.
I was not able to financially, but I've seen. I got to see the prototype at the first Legions Con I was at, and talked to Josh Manpeld about it. And I love what they're doing with that, and I love that they're having like the Build-A-Figure thing in that wave and all that. I love that aspect to it, but it was just something I just couldn't afford when that was going on, unfortunately.
Yeah, gotcha. For me, it's just I don't collect vintage, and those are so very vintage. I mean, 5 points of articulation, they look great, and I know they're going to do amazing. They are doing amazing because there is a huge segment of the population that just loves the vintage stuff. I'm one. I feel like I've upgraded, and I can't go back.
Yeah,
I appreciate them. I'll see vintage stuff, and I'll get the memories of childhood, but I'd much rather have my classics or my Mondo, and taking it to the next level. Did you get on anything there, Curtis, yourself?
I did not. I've heard from other people that have got it that are very impressed with them so far, though. So I was wondering if you guys had gotten in on that. So, I mean, they do look very cool to me. I think, like you, my Motu is the Mondo. And I think the reason that is that me as an adult holding a Mondo in my hand is like the same proportions as me as a kid holding the vintage Motu in my hand. Like I get that same, like this thing is big and bulky and huge and, kind of thing.
For sure.
So,
And of course, it's not a Friday night until you get a little Jesse Arnold in your life.
nice.
What's up, Jesse?
I don't know. You were talking about
Get in
big and
our-
chunky and in your
There we
hands,
go.
and I was like, are they talking about me already?
Not yet, baby. That's a nice green shirt you got on. I like that.
Oh, Motu. Very nice.
Nice.
He's
nice.
repping.
I'm repping the podcast. This is probably one shirt that has been made because I don't think, Shawn, you never even got a Legends of Grayskull podcast shirt, did you?
Not that version.
Yeah.
I'd like to pause the show for a second. Sorry for those in the audience.
He's got to go rep Motu.
I've got to catch Jesse up because Jesse, you weren't here at the start, and I just want to let you know.
Oh, here, let's
the Dooch.
I'll show you because there were some
Yeah.
other people that weren't here. So
Be
Jesse,
prepared to be upset, Jesse. I was so.
we got this. Actually, even Shawn wasn't here for the
That's
beginning.
true.
So everyone sit back, relax, enjoy the intro.
Hey, guess who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Scabarna and the Douche Talk, masters of the universe. The Legends of Grayskull podcast.
Legends of Grayskull is a fan podcast exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Shawn Scabarna and Matthew Duke as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go. Get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Right now.
Woo!
So they take over a live show on Friday night
Yes.
when we should be doing off.
Here we go.
They put together this awesome theme music with like versions of themselves that look like Greek gods somehow. I don't know.
That just selfies that me and Shawn took. That was-
Okay, yeah, okay. So,
Filters.
like how come this show gets all the hoopla, all the fanfare, all the cool music and animation, and I want to look buff.
Whoa.
I want to have muscles.
Whoa.
I'm not saying anything
right.
bad about
Oddworld
your
has
animation. Your
amazing
animation's
artwork.
great, but I mean, look at
I
them.
feel
They
like
had
you're
muscles
stepping all
on top
over
of
my art. I
muscles.
mean, they look like BDSM host with a Pokeball. I don't know what that's all about. At least Matt does.
Hell yeah. That was
With
intentional.
his glowing nipple lights. I don't know what that's all about, but
I know something to eat.
I don't know
Yeah.
that character.
have
Skelevator, I reject your reality and I substitute my own.
Look, I'm here to celebrate the 100th anniversary episode, month and a half long. However, this has been going on for.
Yeah,
Long
their
God.
100th episode.
You
has
got a whole
lasted
week
longer.
for your birthday.
Yeah, that's lasted longer than my birthday week.
Yes. And we got theme music. When we get Off-World to 100, I promise, Curtis, I will get you theme music. I've also got the instrumental version. So
That's a pretty killer intro. You guys deserve it. I mean, that artwork's fantastic too.
What's
So
that little part that gets stuck in your head? The Legends of Grayskull podcast. It's like I'm gonna have that
Earworm.
for the next 2 days. It's gonna be going through my head.
Jeremy DeWitt, earworms. He is a god of them.
Yeah.
He's just gonna play this.
no, I don't know why you thought I would be upset by any of this.
Because we need more of this on Off-World.
Jesse never gets upset about anything.
We're just getting started with Off-World.
It's true.
We're
All of
just
you
getting off world with off world.
in the chat, make sure you go.
We're just
Getting off.
We're just getting off with Off-World.
I did that before the show. My buddy says we
Handshake.
need a 3-minute extended version of that theme. I'm just gonna loop it throughout the whole episode. Just
you know when like something like some video goes viral or something or song, and then they do like one of those on YouTube where it's like 10 hours looped.
Yeah.
Like that's what Dooch is gonna have of this. He's gonna be working and just listen to the 10-hour loop of Legends of Grayskull podcast.
My favorite 10-hour loop is the Jeff Goldblum laughing in Jurassic Park.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Man, could you imagine him as Skeletor? Come on, that'd be.
See that?
I wouldn't be opposed.
I mean, it might maybe like a voice actor or like a motion capture. Not like he's not that big, but
yeah.
I think one of the Skarsgård brothers would be good.
Evelyn, hello.
I just really
little. I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't want a live action movie, if I'm completely honest. Like, I really would rather them just go high budget animated and make everything awesome.
I want a live action movie for one reason. I want to see Dolph Lundgren as King Randor.
Okay.
That's the only reason I want a live action movie.
Yeah.
I think that would be phenomenal. In fact, I would watch a movie where it's just about King Randor. Maybe this
is the man who the 87 movie killed Masters for him, as we discovered a little while ago on the show. And now he will do anything to get Dolph Lundgren back in the franchise.
I had no problem with Dolph Lundgren. I love Dolph Lundgren in that movie. I think that the actors were good. I didn't like the setting on Earth. I didn't like that they strayed from the characters that we loved and threw characters in there to sell toys. I didn't like the whole Courtney Cox bullshit. Like that was just, I don't need that. Yeah.
I will always take
it. But I thought Dolph Lundgren was phenomenal. I mean, I can't imagine in the 80s one other person that could have played that role better than he played it.
Agreed. Completely agree.
It's been too long for me to offer any valid input on that conversation.
Well, we will have to rectify that at some point.
Hey, no, that's a no-fly zone.
So now
you said rectify. I'm sorry.
we can wreck the. No, I'm going to stop there.
This
is not off-world. This is not off-world. However, I do have an off-world style story that I was waiting for Jesse to get here for because I know he loves my brain things. So, color green, that kind of thing. Yeah. But
stop.
So, have you guys
probably not
ever put your belt on the other way around your waist?
What? Why?
I tried it once, but out of curiosity, because I think I found out I was doing it wrong. But then I was like, I don't want to be right because I hate this version of the belt the other way.
I don't know what right is, but like I take the belt and I go around my left side and come around. Yeah. Well, this belt I had on was like where the buckle meets the strap was like hidden up a little bit. And it was digging into my belly. So I'm like, well, if I flip it around, then that part that's poking will just go down.
Yeah.
So you with me, Curtis?
I'm listening.
Okay, so instead of going around the left and coming around, I went around the right and came around. And I felt like a dysfunctional 2-year-old. Like, it is the most awkward feeling thing ever trying to do a belt the other way than you're used to.
Especially if you got to get to the bathroom quickly and you're like, what the hell's wrong with
What am I doing?
I've had to use zip ties and or rope to keep my pants on at various times. So, I mean, whatever works, man. Like
I had to staple my crotch once because I ripped it out of my pants. But no, I've never put my belt on the opposite way. In fact, that's maybe the strangest thing I've heard since somebody standing up to wipe after they poop. But,
I know you'd appreciate it. But the funny thing is, like, I'm no weaker doing it this way, but I couldn't even get it tight. Shawn knows what I'm talking about because he's been there. But like even just like pulling it and getting it tight, like it's loose still, and I'm like, this doesn't like my body just did not want to function
You don't have
the opposite way.
You don't have the muscle memory built up
Look,
for it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Exactly.
Sometimes there are days I wake up and my skin isn't on right. So, I mean, everything is awkward and uncomfortable for me all the time. So,
How do you fix that situation?
I don't know. You just deal with it. Like, you know, when you put like a sock on wrong and you put your
Yes.
shoe on and you feel that little bit of stitching at the toes and it's like in the wrong, and no matter how you take it off and try to reposition it, it never gets right that day.
Yep.
Sometimes I wake up and I feel like my body is like that. So there you go.
Mhm.
All right.
So I'm sure I put my belt on the wrong way. It probably when I didn't know I wasn't doing it the right way. Like I think I was in college. I think I was in college before I realized like men's shirts and women's shirts like button up on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was only because someone told me.
Kind of the same thing.
Somebody told him, they said, Jesse, you're wearing a woman's shirt.
Probably.
Oh, Office, Steve Carell, that's totally laced. But
You know what? It might have been that moment in that show that when I worked.
no, me and my wife, we worked for the same grocery store, and I was out of shirts one day, and I had to go into work, so I grabbed one of hers, and that's when I realized that it was the same thing. I'm like, I feel like a moron. I can't button this way. Like
This is the moment where Dooch tells us that he wears his wife's clothes, and that's just the little
Haven't we all?
door, trying to test the waters,
Matt,
see how we react, and then he'll
without
give
a
us the
doubt
full-blown
say
story.
I have never worn your wife's clothes.
come on over.
This is getting into Johnny Depp playing Ed Wood category. I wear women's underwear. They just make me feel good. It's not
I
that I'm
am
a
my own
homosexual.
No wait. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
All right. That
So
was
what are
our
we talking
off-world
about?
segment. So if you like this, tune into Off-World next Friday night.
Hey, have you guys ever thought about crossovers?
Yeah,
Don't cross the streams, Curtis. Don't cross the
That's
streams.
something you guys ever think of, like properties, like crossing over?
Like
Look at that segue, man.
Boardwalk in Park Place.
Like when Angela Lansbury guest starred on Magnum PI.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That was the example that I was going to go with.
I prefer when she crossed over with Father Dowling Mysteries. That was more.
That was a good one too. God, I love Murder, She Wrote. So Curtis,
That's not Magnum PI.
I just had to grab something and dance them across the screen. It didn't
Angela
matter if it was
Lansbury.
Magnum PI.
And you're thinking of Jessica Fletcher, not Angela Lansbury.
yeah, I couldn't. It's played by Angela Lansbury. You knew who I was talking about.
That's your Magnum PI.
That's probably what we're going to get in the next season of The Mandalorian. But right now, we're talking crossovers. So I threw it out to the boys earlier. Jesse may not have seen because I know he likes to mute us, just like he likes to kick people off streams.
Look, my mouse, I'm not even touching my mouse. The arrow is like off on the other screen. I am not going to accidentally kick anybody out of the show today.
Kevin's not here, so I think we're all safe.
I think he's still banned. I think he's
No, he was on the show Sunday night, so
It's weird. Jesse logged on to this YouTube channel just to ban him, like before the show even started.
He's waiting.
oh my god.
Come on, where are you?
The minute
Where-
he sees him, stay high.
Get out of here. No ticket.
No,
I had
I love
chat
that.
on silent because I was at
Oh.
D&D and it drives me nuts when my phone vibrates and I can't check it. So in order to keep myself from wanting to check it, I just have it on mute.
Can we just back up a second? Because I love that no ticket. Like that is my one of the best scenes ever. That's Last Crusade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
Crusade
Throws the guy out the window and everybody's
Yeah.
looking at him. No ticket.
And Don, with Silent Bob, he did the same beat.
Yep.
So good.
It is always so good.
Look what you did! I can't believe what you did.
That's the only Indiana Jones that I like watching. If I'm
Really?
being honest. Yeah.
I like all but Last Crusade is my
The
favorite.
first one's okay. The second one, I can't stand the second one. I think I'm traumatized from watching it as a kid and seeing that guy rip hearts out and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
my least favorite.
The newest stuff is crap, but 3, like the Last Crusade, is such a good movie. Like, it is so good.
I completely agree with that. They had one of the greatest. They all rode off into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
You did not need to go back to that franchise with that ending like it was.
And the whole dynamic between him and his dad, like, it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and it's so good. Like, to see like that dad that, like, I mean, I can relate, like, to a dad that really wasn't there for you and this and that. Like, I had a great stepfather, but my biological father was not there for me. So to see that relationship where it's like you grew up kind of estranged from your father, but he still loves you, kind of thing. And it's really cool.
I think that was the first movie that I saw Sean Connery in, or at least the first that I remembered, you know.
For me, it was probably either that or The Rock. I can't remember which one came first. I think that probably was first.
I definitely
that was
Indiana Jones definitely came first.
Okay.
Yeah, Rock was 96, I think it was.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was good in that too, though.
And I would just good segue. But so crossovers. So I threw out there, as we know, you know, Masters of the Universe has crossed over with other properties over the years. You know, they've done Thundercats, they've done Superman, they've done the Justice League. So I threw out to the boys, if you were in charge of a Masters of the Universe crossover, who would you have crossover with the Masters? Curtis, I'm going to start with you because you're our featured guest.
Okay. I've said it a few times about loving the Cosmic Enforcers and Xanthor and Zodak, and I always felt like, to me, the Cosmic Enforcers are very much like the Green Lantern Corps of Motu, that they kind of try not to get involved unless the balance of power is shifting one way or another, but they're basically policing the galaxy kind of thing. So I think, you know, some sort of big cataclysmic multiversal event that is threatening all of existence across both of their, you know, dimensions, to where the Green Lantern Corps and the Cosmic Enforcers have to work together, I think would be really cool. So that's where I would go.
I like it. Sweet, simple, and it'd be some good action.
Yep.
Sean, how about you?
This one's tough. Because the problem is, there's only a few I can think of that they haven't done, because we're getting into, even Ninja Turtles is crossing over with them in the toys now and stuff. Right. So
rumored to,
at least, yeah. So, the one that I just I've always thought it would be, it's not one I need, but it's one that would be fun to see, in my opinion, would be Transformers and Masters.
Okay.
And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like imagining moments of how this would work, and like I'm just in my head, I'm thinking to myself, it would be nuts to hear Peter Cullen, of all people, finally say, "By the power of Grayskull." And, you know, like, I would love seeing a moment where Optimus has to wield the power sword for some reason. And then at the same time, you have maybe He-Man with the Matrix doing, "Now light our darkest hour," you know, and just like ripping it open, and the power of Grayskull also being part of it or something. I don't know. I get a
question for Sean.
Yeah.
In this scenario, would the Transformers be the same like vehicles and stuff that we know, or would they be like vehicles from like Eternia? Like,
I would probably do the vehicles from Eternia. I almost like the idea that it would be, I don't want to say like a multiverse of Transformers, but what if they crash landed on Eternia first instead of Earth? And then that way it's like Prince Adam has like the attack track walking around with him all the time, you know, or something like that, where it's
attack track, like at least the toy version is the Optimus colors, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I went there. And it's like, imagine like the Talon fighter transforming into like a sorceress looking Transformer and like going to battle against Megatron, looking and like Megatron having like the ram, the Havoc staff instead of the cannon or whatever. It could be fun in that way. It's not one I need to see, but it's one that when I think of, like I said, the Peter Cullen, just the delivery of that. Like I just had this image in my head of like He-Man gets depowered in front of Grayskull and Optimus is trying to get there in time. He grabs the power sword knowing that's what's going to happen. That you just hear, by the power of Grayskull. And it's like, as a kid, I would have wet myself because I would have never pictured Optimus Prime saying that. And I would have just been like, what's about to happen? And you just see like Optimus becomes like the Power Master Optimus Prime or something going into battle against all of them or whatever. And I'd be like, holy crap. Like it's icon. It's about the iconography for me more than anything, with what's left of what they haven't already crossed over.
You know, it'd be cool as if Optimus had to use the Autobot power or the Matrix, and like they had him use it because he could survive it, but it also takes him out afterward. And so then Optimus has to step up and use the power sword. Like, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I love it. What a great idea. Jesse.
Because I didn't have a lot of time to think about this, the first thing that's really popping into my head, and you guys are probably going to hate me.
Step up.
No.
I couldn't resist.
I love it.
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
Like the retro, like the OG Charlie's Angels.
Sure.
I'd rather have Step Up, if I'm being honest.
I mean, come on. They for some reason go to Eternia and they're running around in different they just keep changing costumes the whole time. I don't know. It's more of a goof, but can be fun.
I can get behind that.
I'm all on board with
or any iteration.
Angels. I mean, trying to change their clothes. To be honest, that would work for me on a few levels.
They team up with Tila and.
All right, I'll be honest. My first thought was Care Bears, just because I was in the '80s zone.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool. I can see that
love
too.
Me some Care Bears.
Filmation He-Man with Care Bears? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
They have to Care Bear stare into the power sword at the exact right moment so he can defeat the villain and save the day. Yeah.
Did you go away from Care Bears?
Just give us a whole '80s team up where it's all of that stuff thrown together. Transformers, He-Man, Care Bears.
You mean like that anti-drug video from the '90s where it's like Turtles?
The one where Michelangelo showed up and none of the other Turtles could take their time.
Cut it off before Turtles.
No, but I'm saying like that anti-drug
video.
That. Yeah, they had like all the like Turtles and I don't remember what, but all these '90s tunes like teamed up to tell us not to smoke pot or else we'd get pregnant and die. So
wasn't that every cartoon? I don't know. It's not ringing a
bell.
bell.
No, it was a special. It was shown at school. Like it was.
Our school must have been lame. I don't remember that at all.
Jesse, did you change from Care Bears to Charlie's Angels because you thought we were going to judge you?
No, I thought it would be funnier to say Charlie's Angels.
Oh, okay. I just want to let you know this is a non-judgment zone.
This isn't Off-World. This is Legends. You're safe.
We're encompassing.
I'm okay with being judged. It's fine.
Now I can see is like Care Bear stare Skeletor. What is going on?
I don't like to care about this.
He just gets annoyed into retreating.
It's like, and in Filmation, my favorite Skeletor episode is the Christmas one, like where he has to he kind of grows that he kind of plays that Grinch role, he grows a heart.
Yeah,
I don't like to feel good. I want to feel evil.
I'm picturing they do the Care Bear stare at Snake Mountain. So then after that, there's this big rainbow over Snake Mountain from that point on, and he comes out. He's like, "Motherfucker!" So
like flying unicorns going over Snake Mountain.
And it reminds him of like the Care Bears besting him, and he's just so angry constantly.
And it's not like dark purples and greens. It's all like bright, colorful and clouds. And
the best part is like Grumpy Bear coming up to Skeletor. don't you make me come back here.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Oh, for me, I had to go. I know Kurt's gonna hate it because it involves them going to Earth. Although I guess they could go to Eternia too. But I picture them going to Earth. He-Man and a group of warriors, and they go to Earth, modern day New York, and they meet up with the Gargoyles. I thought that could be a nice, fun dynamic.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Or Goliath and Angela and Elisa when they're on that boat for like 8 months, just sailing to like some Eternian harbor.
Ever. Yeah,
I mean, I liked that story, but that gimmick lasted way too long.
Yeah. No, it was good stuff in there, but yeah, just too many episodes. Like, let's move on here. But yeah, it'd be awesome for them to go to Eternia and meet the Masters and help them out.
I didn't watch Gargoyles as a kid. I've since gone back. I think this past year went back and watched it. It's a good show, and I regret that I never, because I actually watched the Batman the animated series that was right before it, and I remember it starting, but I just never watched it. The one thing with that though that I would say as far as a crossover that would kind of disappoint me a little bit is just that there didn't seem like a lot of villains in the Gargoyle series. Like it was typically like they were fighting one bad, it was like all the good guys and one bad, versus like Motu where you've got a huge assortment of bad guys.
I had plenty of bad guys. There was the Wolf Pack. There was Cold Stone Creamery. Macbeth.
But they typically weren't like fighting multiple at once.
No, not until you got to the Oberon stuff. Then he really started. He banded a bunch of people together.
Like I think the thing that makes Motu great is they're typically going up against multiple of Skeletor's like henchmen and stuff.
So for that reason, you would want the Gargoyles to come to Eternia.
I think so.
Fight Skeletor.
Oh yeah. I thought they were coming to Eternia.
No,
Matt said New York,
going to Earth. Yeah,
I originally said Earth, but Curtis
like because He-Man fighting like street criminals is way too overpowered. Like that's yeah.
And is it ever daytime in Eternia? I feel like every time I remember Filmation He-Man, it's always like dark.
Yeah. That's the dark hemisphere. That's Snake Mountain side of the planet. It doesn't orbit like a normal planet. The dark side's always dark.
Okay.
So that'd be kind of an interesting thing to play with. If it's always dark, do the Gargoyles turn to stone on that side? That could be.
I would say no.
Little dynamic there. Everyone's taking.
So maybe that's the trick. Maybe
Manny's
Skeletor. Night, Manny. Maybe
Manny.
Skeletor brings them to Eternia and be like, "Hey, it's perpetually dark. You don't have to turn into stone."
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I think if they were going to go to Earth, it would be cool if they did it before the whole turning to stone thing, like back when the Gargoyles didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
they always
did it.
I thought that. Oh no! I mean, before they went to sleep for all those years or whatever.
Yeah,
like
back in the medieval
for 1,000 years.
Yeah. The trick was they made it so they couldn't turn back.
Right, because they had to like raise the thing above the clouds or some shit, whatever that thing was. Yeah,
exactly. Shawn just in there like, I refuse to watch Gargoyles because I hate quality television.
It's the nostalgic value for me. I did not watch it in any way, shape, or form. So, and I did try watching it. It didn't grab me enough that I would have to go back and give it another shot. It's not New Adventures, but I don't know. There was something about it where it just didn't grab me and pull me in like stuff that I want to do that with. And so it's like, okay, there's X, Y, and Z other things I got to get done. I'm not going to do this right now. I'll do it another time.
I think the only way that I could watch New Adventures would be if if we were watching it together as a group.
Yeah.
And
Mystery Science Theater kind of
basically,
stuff.
I like it.
That's the only way I could see making it through New Adventures.
Well, I guess I'm bringing my DVDs to Legion's Con.
I am not working while I'm at Legion's Con.
That's not work.
That's not
fun.
Yeah,
He'll
making fun of a very bad cartoon. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He'll want hazard pay on it. I don't blame him.
You literally tell me that you and Shawn do this all the time, where you just pop in a movie and make fun of it.
No,
Well, the last one we did was the original Dungeons and Dragons movie, and that one for me, like we were just having a blast, going, "What the heck are we watching?"
Yeah, that was a movie. We don't do it every time we put a movie.
No, we don't do it every time. We don't.
No, but we can. But you have fun, right?
We could pop in the Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, but there's not like 8 billion people from all around the world hanging out celebrating our favorite toy line.
No, that's true.
Who's more important, 8 billion people or us?
You're gonna be there.
You're one of the 8 billion.
If you take you out,
I'm just a number to you.
7,999,999.
I'm just there so you can hit 8 billion.
It's like burgers, over 8 billion sold.
Oh, so in honor of this being our traditional off-world night, how would you guys like a Power of Grayskull lightning round?
Oh, but I was hoping for it. Yeah,
I knew I could see it in your eyes. Yeah. That's why you wore that bandana, so you look badass as the lightning crashes behind you.
We need like some sort of lightning graphic that comes on the screen or something.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Maybe once we hit 100 episodes on Off-World, we might look into something like that.
When we hit 100 episodes, we'll get a song.
The first 99's all warm up. It's all about 100 on.
Curtis, I will make a song happen.
Okay.
I believe in you, Jesse.
Not only that, but he doesn't even count the off-week episodes. Now, those are episodes. People are watching them. I'm seeing the views. And he's not even counting that towards the 100. Nope. So it's really, we have to do 200 in order to get there.
That's true. Yeah.
All right.
I'm tired just thinking of that.
Off cannon.
I digress. I'll get off that subject.
All right. We'll get back on it. We'll get back on it later. All right. Lightning round.
Lightning round.
He-Man, Adam, secret identity. Yay or nay?
Yay.
He's in favor of the secret identity, he thinks. Curtis?
Yay, with a caveat. He can't be a scrawny wimp as Adam. He doesn't need to be as muscular as He-Man, but he can't be a little scrawny kid.
So now, to clarify, are you talking, because I felt Revelation Adam
This isn't lightning.
Is it ever?
Elaborate after.
It's true.
All right. Shawn, go.
For me, no. No secret identity. Just let him be He-Man and go nuts. Make him.
You're wrong. The answer is clearly yay. So 3 out of 4 got it right.
I'm married. I'm always wrong. It's I'm the worm. The hook is my home. That's how I look at this.
I do like. I know we've talked about Shawn's theories on what a different thing would be, and I do like that take on it. But I do like unlike Curtis, I do like the scrawny young Prince Adam like they were in Revelation.
See, I thought Revelation was too scrawny.
Yes.
I like 2000X, the MYP, where he's smaller and younger, but he's built,
athletic,
and he's still a warrior, and he's still been training his whole life. So.
What I didn't like about Revelation was that, like Adam compared to Tila, like she dwarfs him, and like she could kick his ass. Like
easily.
Adam should be able to hold his own. What the hell?
Get under your desk. It's an air raid.
I think
Somebody
Adam
said the secret word.
I think Adam should be he doesn't have to be a badass, but he should be a reasonable. I mean, he's still a prince. He's still somebody that's going to have training. He's going to have all the luxuries of not, having to go to a 9-to-5 job and whatever. I think that he would be, and he's supposed to be part of defending his kingdom and stuff, that he's going to have to live up to be king. So I think that he should be a formidable foe, just not quite He-Man. So, as long as he was, I would say my minimum expectation for Adam is that he's bigger and stronger than Tila. That is my minimum. So
agreed. All right. Favorite evil warrior, not including the leaders.
Who are you describing as the leaders?
So Skeletor,
Skeletor,
Hordak.
Yeah.
King Hiss.
I'm gonna have to go with Merman.
Okay, nice, solid choice.
Interesting.
Trapjaw.
Trapjaw.
Too bad, obviously. Twice the evil warrior for the price of one. It's discount shopping.
I mean, is it really twice the evil warrior?
Filmation, no. Everything else, yeah, pretty much he was.
2000X, Tuvar and Badra. Separately, I'm with you.
Absolutely.
I'm not. I don't like them together, but I think as mercenaries individually, I love Tuvar and Badra, and I am more upset that we didn't get versions of them individually in classics than any other thing that we didn't get in classics.
True. But I like, again, we're hoping that if Mike Young had gotten a third season, because they did have a nice arc where, like you said, they're the awesome bounty hunters. Then they get fused, and at first they're like fighting against each other, and trying to separate, but then they learn to work together and kind of accept it. So like the next step in that is like, again, they could become a very cunning threat. And that was the original intent with the character. I know Filmation definitely played up the fighting with each other, but
here's the question:
double-headed evil strategist to begin with.
Is he really double the character because he only has 2 heads? He doesn't have 4 arms, does have 4 legs. I don't know what else he has to have, but like, is he really double the villain? No, I don't. I respect my toys' privacies.
Yes, because he's got 2 brains, so he can think twice as fast as you.
Let me show you guys something, and you may have already seen this. I don't know.
Whip it out.
This may blow your mind.
Blow me, whip it out. Let's go.
This
Yeah.
was a design that was made up for classics as an idea to sell these as a set that would have a Tuvar and a Badra with an extra leg, a torso, and then you could then combine them to make Tubad.
This
would have been my favorite classics version of any character that came out if we would have gotten this.
Absolutely,
and my biggest regret that we didn't get.
Yep, I completely agree with that.
Like seeing them on the show, I was like, why do we not have figures of them separately? Number one, and then them doing this and showing what it could have been in classics. That's the version I've been waiting for. So
and I like vintage wise, I never got into Tubad because it just had that their fists like basically punch themselves in the face or whatever. It wasn't it didn't like there wasn't a lot you could do with it, in my opinion, in terms of like fighting and playing with your figures. But 2000X, seeing the whole, they're basically like mercenaries and they're paid to just go and do like they're badasses on their own right before they're combined. That made it a lot cooler. But the reason I went with Trapjaw is like I loved the jaw function as a kid. I loved the hook on top of his head where you could put him on a string and just slide him down stuff. And then the exchangeable weapons, even though I always went with the gun, like I never went with the other ones. But the fact that you could change out the weapons in his arm, like I just thought that Trapjaw was so cool. And then the cybernetic aspect of him as well. So
absolutely. Oh, solid choices all around.
Well, except for Merman. Merman sucks. He's only good in the water, which who fights in the water?
You're just lashing out because you don't have a theme song.
That's true. Not Jesse's fault. And Jesse didn't give me the muscles that you guys have on this show. That's I like Jesse's art, but you could have
I made myself a Lego. Come on.
This is true.
All right, final one. Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, Royal Palace. Where are you living?
The woods?
Okay.
Grayskull, I guess. There's that cool foresty thing in the pit, right? At least on Revelation.
In the Revelation.
In Revelation, there was, yes.
Yeah, all right. I'll live there. Plus the sorceress is there.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation doesn't count.
Not a bad choice. Curtis.
Revelation's not canon.
You don't count.
I got to go with the palace. I mean, who doesn't like? Yeah, come on. That's
I don't.
awesome. I love the music. Everything's just so happy in the palace. It's like do 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 do. It's just like you just walk in the palace and music plays and everybody's cheery and. Yeah.
Probably have to keep your shirt tucked in the palace, so no thank you.
I don't think that's
half these guys don't even wear shirts.
Look at Orko. Orko never has his shirt tucked in.
He doesn't have pants. There's nothing to tuck into.
Exactly. You don't even have to wear pants at the
day
palace. You could go pantsless at the palace.
If you don't have legs.
I don't know that rule's written down anywhere.
I'm still staying at Grayskull.
Let that stuff
Sorceress.
Okay.
Shawn.
Grayskull.
I gotta agree with Curtis. The palace is where it's at, man. And the dining hall, the science lab, like everyone's hanging out there. I catch a cold in Grayskull. Like I need to be warm. You know, you got those nice fur beds. And
you catch a cold in Grayskull.
Indoor plumbing.
Sorceress nurses you back to health personally. I mean, where's the problem there?
Now you're selling me on Grayskull.
You don't have like dozens of people just traipsing through the halls all day long. You have privacy. You can go to your paint studio and just paint whenever you want.
And on top of that,
Sean's pulling at my heartstrings because he knows that Sorceress is like my dream MILF.
Sorceress, I always had.
I already called dibs.
Sorceress.
So, I mean,
yeah, I always had.
He did. He's got dibs. Sorry, man.
But the other thing too is if you are at Grayskull, you know there's going to be a point where He-Man and Battlecat will show up, and you get to hang out with them for a bit. Versus at the palace, how many months until you see He-Man, Battlecat show up? Sometimes, you know. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot more often if you're at Grayskull, and then you can just be like, "Holy crap, it's He-Man!" That's so.
I don't know. He-Man seems to show up like right outside Prince Adam's room a lot. It's really weird. He just kind of appears there.
Okay. Let me lightning round
this stuff going on. What are you saying, Matt?
Another lightning round.
I'm gonna throw another bonus lightning round question.
Bonus lightning.
Okay, you have to have a job on Eternia, just like a regular job. You're not a hero. You're not a villain. You have to have a regular job. What is your job? We'll start with Shawn. What's your job on Eternia?
I would want to be one of two things. I would love to be an artist on Eternia because they don't really get into that too much. Or I wouldn't mind being someone who's like Malactha, the archaeologist. I'd love to go and examine all those ancient things because on Eternia, you know there's some crazy, wicked stuff out there. And it's like you get to play Indiana Jones and go do this on a freaking alien world. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, dude.
I'm gonna be a loincloth maker.
There's a lot of work.
Those things have got to wear out, and like I'm gonna be rolling in the dough. Like everybody in Eternia wears them. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna be a millionaire by the age of.
Would you 25. Try to come up with some different styles, or you're just gonna stick to?
No, they get very mad when you try and come up with different styles. Something about new tooling or something. I don't know, but they're like, nope, it's got to be this one. 3 circles, same length.
But he would be the loincloth maker. He would actually go over to Skeletor and go, make them land on their asses and skid a bunch so that they have to come back to me after the battle because I need the money right now. And he'd be playing both sides.
He'd be like sliding.
Everybody wears
more profiteering.
Exactly. And it would be like at the end of a Scooby-Doo episode. They're like, we constantly are in battle. Who's to blame for this? And there's Dooch right in the middle. And it's like, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you kids and that meddling tiger.
He's meeting with Skeletor. Okay, you sent me
right.
10 people that need a new loincloth this week, so your cut is
Exactly.
He gets one free for every 10 referrals. Yes, absolutely. Skeletor, don't I need to stamp your card or you're not going to get credit for this week's purchases.
That's that piece that goes in front of the loincloth on Skeletor that only he has. That's his. Oh, well, you get that free. That's your thing.
Yeah.
That's why he wears it proudly.
I got you, Skeletor. Don't worry.
Yeah, I need full cotton. None of this polyester. The boys
natural blends, damn it.
And this better not shrink. Jesse?
Dry clean only, son of a bitch.
I'm going to be groundskeeper at Grayskull.
I like it.
Not much to do there.
I know, but like it gives me the chance to,
he can trim her bush.
Peek in on.
Wow.
Peek
Okay, I was
on
going to say, be good at my job and, maybe someday in 50 years, catch her attention.
Okay.
Need a trim?
As you wish.
Why is my wish of a fantasy world so depressing?
But even in his fantasy world, he has to wait 50 years for it
to
maybe have. Yeah.
Just a look. This one time she looked at me.
Sorceress is just like, just shelve it, boy. Get me that. He's just shelve it, boy. Get me this.
As you wish.
As you wish.
I would go with assistant to Man-at-Arms. I think being somebody working on the different inventions and stuff would be cool.
So boy at arms?
What's that?
Boy at arms?
Boy at arms. Yeah, boy
Absolutely.
at arms. Like just working on the different inventions, and then who knows, maybe one day you move up to become the man at arms and kind of go from there. But I just think that would be a neat little job.
And
you
his ultimate.
You do realize though that there's a good chance that you'll get like blown up because you're standing between Man at Arms and Orko, and
that's fine.
That dynamite that goes wrong goes like right into your lap. So
that's fine.
Other than that, great job.
But if he did that and he was building weapons with Man at Arms, he would come up with his own weapon that would be this giant freaking thing, and it would be called the Inevitable, and that's the thing that they would need to defeat Skeletor on that episode. There you go.
I love it.
I do like the Malektha thing though. That would be cool too. Doing like an archaeologist on Eternia would be awesome.
I think I'd probably die the first time, but you know what? I'd probably go, hey!
It'd be like the first Indiana Jones with the ball rolling and Shawn would just be squished. That would
the boulder came down, I'd be the one going, hey, that's a...
Well, if you're not the main character as the archaeologist, you either are a bad guy in disguise or you unlock the curse and get everybody killed.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or you step on something and the darts like hit you in the neck, the poison darts.
Yep.
Yeah, you're the cannon fodder. Don't even have a last name.
Yeah.
You're essentially the red shirt.
Yeah.
Do I? Is there hair? You don't know.
Oh, thanks, guys. That was awesome. All right.
Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I can't wait to wish you the same on Offworld and get you a shiny new theme song.
One day.
One day. Well, chat's gone quiet, so I think this is about the time to wrap it up. We do want to thank everybody for joining us today as we celebrate our 100th episode. Thank you to Jesse and Curtis for coming along with us. And it's been a blast. Definitely like, subscribe, share, hit all those buttons. Go over to Offworld, do the same. Go to Shooting the Shelf, do the same. And join the
Facebook group.
Legendati Facebook group. Absolutely. Get over there, guys.
Wrap it up early and often.
True words have never been spoken.
I mean, what?
All right, guys. Did they hit it?
No, I'm doing it as a don't forget because we are 90. What was it? Hang on, 96% there. So hopefully this weekend we will see it.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
Billy Vader, you were supposed to pledge $4,000 while we were doing it. Come on, get that gold card out. All right, guys. Until next time, we are going to leave you with this amazing video to piss Curtis off one more time. Until next time.
Hey, guess who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Scabarna and the Douche Talk, masters of the universe. The Legends of Grayskull podcast.
Legends of Grayskull is a fan podcast exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Shawn Scabarna and Matthew Duke as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull.